Hey girl,
Hey, what's up, Kino? How you
how
doing?
you doing? I'm fine and yourself?
Good, good. We finally get to meet today.
Yeah, I think firstly apologies for the miscommunication last week. That
Oh
was
no,
like
it's
a
all
huge
good.
mess.
It's all
Yeah,
good. We
I
here
thought for
now.
sure you were gonna say like, okay, I'm canceling the show, not happening, you know. But
No,
thank you for
no,
accommodating. Thank you for
no,
accommodating.
no. I'm
Yeah.
here.
How's your morning so far? Your day has just started.
Yes, I actually just woke up not too long ago. So I'm like
The life
still
of
trying
an
to. I'm
artist.
still trying to wake up a little bit.
Cool, cool, cool. So, yeah, so first off, one thing that really got to me, like in a positive way, is like you being like a diva of divas. And I'm going to be honest with you, like it's been such a long time since I've actually seen or heard the word diva, you know? And you can correct me if I'm wrong with this. There's a huge difference between being a diva versus being a model. You know, the word
Yeah,
model we hear a lot, it's all over, but never diva. Like when it comes to being a diva, it's much more complex. There's more components to it.
yeah, no, definitely. Like when I came up with Diva, it was to um it was to brand it in hip hop because there's never been a diva in hip hop. You
Yeah,
got
yeah, yeah.
Barbie, you got Hot Girl, you got Icy Girl, you got the Beehive, you got the Little Monsters, and now you have Diva. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
and I've been obviously using that alias for ever since I've been out, which is like 2005. So it's just a name that I'll always have, and I put a different meaning behind it. It's not, like you said, it's not about being a stuck up bitch,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
yeah, it's just more so being a sophisticated, independent woman who knows what she wants. And by being that is what makes her at the same time sweet, elegant, beautiful, inside out. And that's what a diva is.
Yeah, yeah. So that's like your trademark. That's your signature that you brought
Yes.
to like hip hop culture and the whole music economy.
Yes. Yeah, you got it. Yes.
Well, it sticks. It sticks. I love it. I love it. I love the whole concept of it.
Thank
So,
you.
like,
Thank you.
yeah. So, your people have only given me 1 hour with you. I know Wendy was like, when I was first communicating with her, I was like, I have shows that go for like 2 hours, 2.5 hours. And she's like, okay, can we keep it like for an hour, Because I know you're a busy person. You're a busy person.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so besides touching like on you, like I want to ask you, some questions on hip hop culture itself. But let's start with you. Like, how did it all start with you? Like, when did it start? How did you know that hip hop is for me? Like, I want to be an artist.
Yeah. So, gosh, man, probably like in the early 2000s, like 2003, 2004, when there were just so many artists. Def Jam was popping, Cash Money was popping, No Limit, um, Rough Riders. And I just told myself, I was like, oh my God, I want to do that, and I know I can do that. And not only just from watching all of that, but music has always been my thing. It's always been my forte. And I always love performing. I love writing. I love um, co-producing and arranging music. Like for me, I'll sit there with a producer and watch him make the beat, and I'll direct him on how to arrange the beat and what
Yeah,
instruments to put in the beat, or sound effects or anything like that. And so for me, that's what really inspired me to want to do music. And I love expressing how I feel. And so the best way to do it for me is through hip hop. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
I've done poetry. I've tried to sing a little bit, but it just really wasn't my thing, and I just really wasn't I wasn't good at it, but rapping is no rapping is what I'm good at. Acting is what I'm good at. Just you know what's your calling and what isn't.
Yeah, yeah,
And when you do know
yeah,
what your calling is, you got to dive into it. You got to go full in and you have to pursue it. And that's what I did because I knew that hip hop was my calling. And it what really almost discouraged me in the first place from pursuing it was when I did first enter the game. I was signed to an independent label and we were trying to search for a major deal for me. And at the time, there was no female rappers out right now. Lil Kim, Foxy, Eve, the Brat, all of them
Missy
had,
Elliott.
yeah, Missy Elliott. They all had done their thing and took a break or whatever. So the market was really dry, and when you think of female rappers, you think of them. So it was really hard for me to find a deal because at that point labels were like, well, what should we do with a female rapper? We don't know what to do with you. We don't know how to market you. We don't know how to promote you. We don't even know what kind of audience we would promote you to, because at the time, yeah, Lil Kim and Foxy had Jay-Z and Bad Boy behind them, and Eve had Rough Riders behind her. Mia X was with No Limit, the Brat was with So So Def, so everybody belonged to a family. And I belonged to an independent family, but it was just we had a hard time trying to convince a major label what you could do with Keldamuzik. So
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
was one major challenge, but I overcame that hurdle, and I'm here today.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's crazy. Like, when people talk about independent labels or independent artists, it's like it's not new, but it's still fresh, even in 2024. So for you to
Hmm.
say there was like an independent label those days in the 2000s, that's
Hmm.
a wow. So it was there. So
Hmm.
did the label at that time just serve as okay, like A&R, where we're going to recruit artists such as yourself, and then we're going to get you a deal, with the mainstream record label? Is that how it worked?
Yeah, well, so nowadays, the industry has changed, right? It's all about being
Yeah,
independent and proving to a label that you have an audience and that you can sell out clubs or lounges or whatever, right? So it's just an example that I like to give is, if you're ever trying to get a loan or a line of credit or even buy, a car or a house, they look at your credit score, right?
yeah, yeah,
They look at if you're worthy or not, if you're capable of paying them back this money in a timely manner. And that's the way the independent game works right now. So for me, we were doing it old school, right? We were trying to just, send out demos and arrange, times to go meet with A&Rs and buy lunches and, pay for a publicist and all that other stuff. Whereas now you invest in yourself. You're spending money on yourself and you're paying for all these tools now to help promote you, from social media ads to, any kind of marketing tool that exists out there, right?
yeah,
For
yeah,
to promote your music. Um, and so now the purpose of getting a deal really is for the financial aspect of it. So it is like getting a loan from a loan shark, and you got to make sure you pay that label back plus interest plus everybody who works around you. So for me, I've continued to ride that wave where I'm investing in myself, and now I'm investing in other artists, and now I'm investing in other aspects of my career as an entertainer, from producing my own films, TV shows, and um, now even acting in other people's projects. It's like the whole industry has changed. So that's wave I'm riding, and a lot of other artists are doing the same, because that's the only way now how to become successful. So yeah.
If you really think about it, it's actually quite sad as well that that's what
Hmm.
it's come to, because people are no longer looking for like, are you the dopest rapper out there? Are you like the most talented artist out there? No, it's
Hmm.
like, okay, first show me your social media following. Show
Hmm.
me, how many views you're getting on TikTok, how many views you're getting on YouTube. That's
Hmm.
what they want to actually see, because whether your music is good or not, because you already have that following, it's going to sell. That's the perception. So that's where we want to invest. It's like what you said, it's like all financial. It's all bottom line to this, guys.
It
Which
is.
is sort of like as you said yourself, you're working with other artists and you want to grow other artists. It becomes demotivating for those artists as well, which can make like your job, my job, like harder.
Yeah, yeah. It yeah, no, definitely. And hello, like, look at the labels now. The labels are laying off so many people, right? There's no such thing as
Yeah,
an
yeah,
A&R anymore. You know what I mean?
yeah,
If,
yeah.
if a label now wants to sign you now, you might be talking directly to the president. One man office. You know what I mean? And just cutting the deal right there. Everything might be through email, through a DocuSign document. You know what I mean? It's like we're not in the times anymore where you walk into a label, you audition, and if you're good, you come back and sit in office and sign like 50 stacks of paperwork now. It's just things
Yeah,
are
yeah,
so
yeah,
different now. But yeah, like you said, it's hurting other people too. Now, the people that it's not hurting so much are like bloggers and journalists and tastemakers, and maybe even PR people, because now we, as independent artists, we rely on those people to keep our names out there, or to even get our name out there. So that's why you just have so many artists now who have independently built their own label, and they're just hiring outside people to come in and run their label or work for them as if it is a major label, because at the end of the day, you are your own brand, you are your own
yeah,
entity.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
why not do some outsourcing and bring those kind of people in who specialize in what you need to work for you. That's what the major
yeah,
labels did. So yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah. It's a partnership model in this day and age. It's
Hmm.
like, okay, these are my strengths. This is what I do. So I'm going to leverage other people's assets in order to
Hmm.
make this work.
Hmm.
You do what you do, you run. Like, I mean, let's look at it. Okay, I'm a publishing company and you a recording studio. You're going to record the music, I'm going to publish it. So you don't
Hmm.
have to really focus on the publishing. That's going to be my duty
Hmm.
via this process. That's the era we're living in. You could work alone. You could work alone. You just need the right partners and you need the
That's
right
right.
network. That's the era.
That's right.
Yeah. But like I'm gonna go back to the sad part, because if you look at the 2000s, um, correct me if I'm wrong, but like woman dominance in hip hop like started like say 2000s. It was in the 90s as well, but there wasn't much like attention or fame on it. It was still like mainly male dominated. So it like
Right.
started in the is am I right in saying that? Like
Yeah,
2000
yeah.
is when like female hip hop artists came out and said, "Look, we here now.
Yeah.
We're making our
Oh,
mark. We want to be equal as men. This is what's up." And I just feel like the music back then in the 2000s and me growing up in that era was so organic. It was real. Like I could listen to like, Lil Kim or Missy Elliott or whoever, okay, I was a fan of Eminem, growing up my whole life. And it could relate to my life, whatever I was going through, like because the artist sort of understands how I'm feeling right now. And now we're in 2024, and the culture has sort of changed where it's like, sort of fake as well. People aren't really rapping about what's really going on in the world. So, what's your take on that? Do you think that hip hop culture has evolved in the right direction, correct direction? Or is there work that we need to do to sort of like make it organic as a community, as the hip hop community worldwide?
yeah. So it's weird. I do always ask myself, when will hip hop go back to what it was? At least like in the mid 2000s. But I mean, don't get me wrong. Back then, hip hop was turning popish too. You had rappers singing their hooks and
Yeah, yeah,
even
yeah.
harmonizing throughout their verses. So and all of today's artists are kind of just, following that. You know what I mean? Because that's what they grew up on, right? um I just think that this wave of female hip hop artists that are out right now, for me, I think it's not a bad thing, because it is highlighting black women, right? Black women in entertainment, black women holding their own, black women being independent, making their own money. I would rather see all of these female rappers out right now rap about whatever they want to rap about, opposed to knowing who the biggest gold digger is right now, married to whichever athlete, getting this money and that money. Or, you know what I mean? Or I'd rather see, a chick on OnlyFans doing her thing and making her own money. Like, my whole thing is, I like to just see women be independent. However you get your money is however you get your money. Um, I just, just the whole gold digging thing is just where, like, like, come on, But as far as hip hop changing, um, I will say it might change, but it doesn't mean it's going to change for the better.
Yeah, yeah.
You might have this one next female rapper that's going to come out and just, you know what I mean? I don't even want to say it, but I don't think it's going to change for the better. I think music is going to continue to be dumbed down. And now that they've come up with all these AI tools where
Yeah.
you could have AI write a song for you. You could have AI sing and produce a song for you, rap a song. I came across a tool the other day. Um, I forgot what it was called. It was called like AIRap.com. But you just put in like a couple notes or whatever, then AI
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
comes with, saying like a whole song for you, a whole rap. And I'm just
Yeah,
like, this
yeah,
is not hip hop. You know what I mean? This is not
yeah.
hip hop. This is not street. This is
It's not
not,
real.
or yes, it's not authentic. So I think with the way society is and the way technology continues to evolve and take over, I don't see hip hop getting better. I think it's going to remain, if anything, I think it's just going to get worse. And it's going to make it harder for artists such as myself, who've been in the game for a long time, to continue to evolve and, retain your fan base, because everyone's going to get younger and younger. And the younger they get, and what they're introduced to, is what they're going to pay attention to, right? So even artists like, Cardi B or Meg The Stallion, who are, authentic artists, it's going to make it harder for them in the future,
Yeah,
because now we're going to want to listen to AI. And
yeah.
you know what I mean? And if AI could sit up there and create its own artists. AI
Yeah.
could create a hologram. AI to create a hologram tour with its own hologram artists, its own hologram music, hologram backup dancers. It's gonna be like a Circus Soleil show or whatever from Vegas now. It's not gonna be how authentic hip hop is today or how it was years ago. So ah, I don't know. That's just the way I see it. The way I see it.
So is this something like you communicate like to your people, like your community? Are you like for yourself personally like coming up with ways or methods on how we can still keep the culture and just promote, the mandate, globally as far as we can? Like
Definitely.
would you take this as a project for you?
Oh yeah, definitely. That's why for a while, like during the pandemic, I was hosting showcases for independent artists, just to keep it real. You know what I mean? To keep it keep it genuine, keep it authentic. And I think that's what I'm going to go back into doing. Also, too, for my podcast, I would book a lot of hip hop artists on there and give them a moment to shine and a moment to talk about their whole thoughts on what hip hop is going through right now. And I think other artists need to come out with ways to do so as well, or else, again, you're going to let AI take over everything. You're going to let
Yeah, yeah,
technology,
yeah.
you're going to let all these guys take over what's real and turn it into something fake. um, I was going to say, speaking of which, I'm not sure if you watched the Olympics, but you saw um the break dancing segment that they had, and they had the Australian chick on there. Did you watch that?
No, no, no. All I know is that your music was involved in the Olympics. Is that correct?
No, not this time around.
Wasn't it wasn't this time around.
No, no. We wrote an article on it. We wrote an article
Okay,
on
okay.
it because I have my beret line, Tams, and obviously it's in Paris, and that's what they wear,
Right, right, right,
the
right, right.
berets. So we wrote an article on of Thames and berets in general, and where it stems from when it comes to the Olympics taking place in Paris. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I wish I would have had a song out there or something, but
I think for
uh,
me, why I never really focused on the Olympics much is because of all the controversy that actually started with it at the start. And I
yeah,
was like, I want to stay out of this. I really just wanted to like stay out of this.
yeah,
There was
yeah,
just like too much heat on it. So like I was like, okay, cool. Let me not get involved in this.
yeah,
Even if it's just like watching it, because you would watch something and then maybe you'll be impressed about something happening, and then the next day, there's someone making a noise on Twitter saying, this was wrong and so on. So like situation like this, I like to just like step back. Okay, cool. Let me just do Kino and move on in my life. You
yeah,
know, you
yeah.
know,
No,
yeah,
totally. And a lot of people are like that. Like, even for me, that's why I stay out of politics. I
yeah, yeah,
I don't blog about it. I don't rap about it. I don't write about it. I don't talk about it or anything, because it just comes to a point in life where it's a distraction, and it's not keeping you
yeah,
focused.
yeah,
And when you're distracted by all of those things, you lose track of what you're doing. And um there's just so many people in this world that it wouldn't matter if your view counted or not. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
the Olympics, I did keep up, though. I did keep up with the Olympics just because they some of the sports I was really interested in, like obviously gymnastics, swimming, and then uh fencing. Oh my gosh, that was just really, that was a really cool game, because it's just like focused on your mental. But yeah, no, I'm just focused on my music, my brand, my career. And lately I've been working with the legendary duo in hip hop, the Loonies. You guys all know I got five on it. And so behind the scenes, I've been working with them, and was also working with Bay Area rap artist Kafani. I was help running his label. So, the hip hop industry is a $1 billion industry. There's so many things you could do in hip hop, and hip hop has saved a lot of lives, right? Hip hop
yeah,
has
yeah,
prevented a lot of people from taking a negative direction in life by employing them to work behind the scenes, even to where employing security guards to work for artists, to obviously signing artists to become successful and make a living doing this. So it's just the world of hip hop. Everyone loves it one way or another. Like, I don't care how racist you are towards black people, or how you feel about some of the lyrics in hip hop. There's one song that you like by Tupac. There's one track that you like by Nicki. There's one performance you like by Meg The Stallion. There's one business venture that you support of Jay-Z's. You know what I mean? So it's like you
yeah,
can
yeah,
never
yeah,
turn away this business. And that's one thing I will say, this business is never going to leave.
yeah, yeah. like mentioning Tupac there. Like for myself personally, I'm sure there's people out there as well. Like we lose touch of what the artists that are actually coming to light in
Mm-hmm.
2024 because like you're so loyal to those artists, whether they're here or not. Like if
Mm-hmm.
I want to listen to hip hop, if I'm in some state of maybe anxiety or depression or whatever it may be, you go back to Tupac. You
Right.
listen to Tupac, and then like that's where your loyalty is, you know. Because sometimes, as we said, like or as I said, sometimes the rappers of 2024 don't really get where you're coming from right now. But it comes down to, the finances once again. I think, the artists are making decisions that, will financially sustain them moving into the future. As you said, how technology is evolving. Am I going to be relevant next year? No one really knows. Yeah, I can be relevant today, but it can change tomorrow. And that's the world where we live in. You
Yeah.
know, you could
Yeah.
blow up on YouTube today, you could blow up on Spotify today.
Mm-hmm.
Tomorrow, you're going to be back at the ground level.
Yeah.
That's just what comes now with being in the industry. There's no time to say, okay, look, I've made it this far, now I can chill, relax. Okay, maybe I'll release another track in another year. We don't live in those times anymore.
No, we don't. We don't.
Yeah,
Basically, uh, you have a whole bunch of one hit wonders, unfortunately.
yeah. And one
And
thing I also
mm,
saw, oh, sorry, so you're saying.
no, go ahead.
Yeah, like what I also noticed over the years, and not just like, okay, maybe not so much hip hop, but like your R&B, like your pop singers, I felt like they were collaborating a lot with EDM DJs along like around the world. It was the only way that they really had to promote their music to millions of people.
Hmm.
And I should wonder, like, okay, from a business point of view, why would I be doing that? And I think it's like quite obvious because that's where my reach is now. Like
Hmm.
if there's a festival going on and I can't afford to go on tour, and look, let me collaborate with a DJ. He's gonna remix my song. I'm gonna be the vocals there, or it's gonna be a brand new composition, and I'm gonna be the vocals on there. And that's what's actually going to promote me as an artist, going to promote my brand. I felt like that was sort of also happening along the way.
No, yeah, that's definitely been happening, and that's actually a good marketing point that you've made because a lot of artists kind of don't think outside of the box. Where yes, you could submit your music to your hip hop track to an EDM DJ and have him mix it EDM style, and now boom, you have a whole different audience now. Um,
Yeah.
but that is um, how artists like Pop Smoke came about. Rest in peace, right? His whole sound, even though he sounded like vocally like 50 Cent, and he was rapping over his tracks. All of his music was EDM music. It was hip hop EDM music. And it's a new sound actually that I was introduced to years ago before my engineer bailed out on me. But that's what direction he was going in because he was like, that's where hip hop's going. You're going to see a lot of artists rapping over EDM music. And I was just like, huh, what? Electronic dance music, huh? What is that? When I think of electronic dance, I'm thinking of like freak like rave music, you know what I mean? And it's not
Yeah.
necessarily that. It's a mixture of some of that, but it also takes elements from different other sounds too, like afro beats, um um even a little bit of geez, I was gonna say Caribbean music, but I'm not sure if it's like soca, calypso, but it's taking EDM is taking different pieces of different genres of music and it's created itself. And
Yeah.
there's artists that are catching on to that. And as a matter of fact, I released an EDM project called the Diva Workout, and what it was three pop songs that I recorded with producer Robot Millennium. And then I said, you know what? Why don't you go ahead and make some EDM mixes out of this? And let's cater it to the fitness community. People who love
Yeah.
to work
Yeah.
out. And boom, we did that. So EDM music is on its way to becoming bigger and bigger. And again, rest in peace to Pop Smoke because he was introducing that to hip hop. So if he was still alive till this day, imagine how much EDM would have an influence right now in the hip hop community.
Yeah. It's also like as you said, EDM music is getting bigger and bigger, but the fact that festivals are also like just getting bigger and bigger for EDM music, like that audience to expose yourself as a hip hop or R&B artist, it's mind blowing. It's mind blowing. I mean, one artist that comes to mind is Rihanna. Like she
Oh
got
yeah,
in that game early with Calvin Harris. She got in that game early with,
yes,
and I mean, it worked out perfect for her. Like she came out
definitely.
winning on the other side, being one of the first artists to collaborate, with a DJ who's continuously touring the world, and they are listening to Rihanna within his mixes.
Heck yeah.
Definitely,
Heck
yeah,
yeah. When she came out, I forgot what album it was, but yeah, every track just had the had either, Calvin Harris on it, or, was influenced by it. And yeah, fast forward, even Nicki Minaj started working with David Guetta, and
yeah, yeah,
Akon started working with
yeah.
David
Akon
Guetta, I
as well.
believe.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
So that really opened the door too for artists to dabble in EDM music. Now, in a sense, I understand artists who don't want to go in that direction because it just simply isn't their sound, or, they're not willing to take a risk. But yeah, Rihanna really, really went to that side, and she excelled.
yeah,
And then, you had Lady Gaga, even Beyonce with the You
yeah,
Can't Break My Soul. You know what I mean? Just all of these artists now are really grasping or gravitating onto that genre, because you have to think about it too. In clubs, you want to dance to something that's upbeat, right?
yeah.
You want to vibe to something that's going to make you feel good, and EDM really just, it touches that point.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Just like what you said, like, like with the club, like one thing I'm passionate about is like regulations when it comes to performance because of how music is actually exploited within clubs and, the creators of that music aren't getting paid. Like that is like
Hmm.
a huge, huge problem that's happening. And it's, something like I'm passionate like about addressing. Like, but I feel down the line, like back to the topic of AI is going to resolve this issue, is going to resolve these issues. I mean, artists spend like a lot of time on their brands. They spend a lot of time in the studios working on their music. Just for DJs to go out there and exploit their music, the DJ is getting paid, but the artist is not seeing a cent out of it. Those things do need to like be addressed. Armin van Buren, are you familiar with him? The DJ as well.
What's the name?
Armin van Buren.
Shoot, I don't know if I heard of him.
Yeah, so it's like he did something really crazy. I think it was last year at Tomorrowland. So he used
Okay.
AI to duplicate Eminem's voice, and he dropped this track to like millions of people. And it was like the first time I listened to it, I was like, okay, is this like a collaboration going on between Armin van Buren and Eminem? Just to find out down the line that he was honest in an interview to say, no, he used AI, he created his voice. Of course, there were no, legal disputes and so on going on, but just shows you, what can happen now and the exposure you can get, of it. And how AI is actually going to be used.
Yeah,
It's
yeah. Oh,
crazy.
definitely.
Yeah.
Um, it's funny. In 2010, when I released my album called the Diva TV album, and at the time I was, getting booked in the Caribbean to perform, to open up for like artists like Jock Cure. And so one of the DJs that I met out there, he said, "Hey, why don't you send me your whole album and let me do like a soca dance remix for all your songs?" And at first I'm like, I don't know, you know what I mean? But he did it for one of my songs, and it actually turned out pretty tight. I was like,
Yeah.
oh
Yeah.
shoot, um, so you just gotta take a chance with music, and I hate to say it, but you gotta go whatever direction the game is going in, right? Because again, people are only getting younger and younger, and whatever they're introduced to is what they're gonna support and what they're gonna stay tuned into, and that means it's gonna blow up, right?
Yeah.
And that means you have newer DJs. newer media outlets, newer clubs, newer tastemakers, newer producers, newer everything. And all these
Yeah, yeah,
people are making the latest sound, which is EDM. So
yeah, yeah, yeah,
you really have to just follow what's going on, but know how to do it right and reinvent yourself within that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. There's a guy in the States, Clinton Sparks. Not sure if you're familiar with him. He's also into hip hop. So in his book, like the story you just said about yourself, like you were like, okay, shouldn't I actually let this guy remix my album? So in his book, he talks about a story. I think it was with Kanye West, if I'm not mistaken.
Uh-huh.
So he had an idea to expose Kanye West to a different type of audience,
Mm-hmm.
and Kanye West was against it. So anyway, Clinton goes behind his back and calls these people and says, "Okay, send me an acapella of Kanye West, of us." I may be mistaken, but I think it was Kanye West. So anyway, the guy sent it to him. So Clinton puts this track together and he sends it over to Kanye West. And he was blown away by it. Like, wow. Now he's just been exposed to fans he would have never been exposed to ever before. I mean, look at what Beyonce has done now with country music. Who would have
Yes,
expected that?
that
But
too.
it's
Yeah,
it's like an entrepreneurial mindset.
it
That's what
is.
it is. We get artists who want to, like, be in their niche, be in their comfort zone. But if you only start exploring, you're going to find an audience and fans that you never know existed that's going to sustain your career. So, like, step out of your comfort zone,
You
moral of the
have to.
story.
And I like the fact that Beyonce took that risk to do that because she is the leader in the music industry right now, right? From a talent standpoint of view to even business now. And even if she doesn't continue doing country music, what she did was she opened the door and laid the foundation for established black country artists who have been trying to make it in the industry. Now they can because
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Beyonce opened the door for that. And to me, that was just a genius idea. That's why I said, even if she doesn't continue to do country anymore, she opened that door for people who actually do country music, who have been, black folks who do country music, who've been trying to, become successful but never hit that point yet. She's laid the foundation now. So now you got a bunch of black country artists who already have a following now, who are able to get that mainstream look to where they can become the Beyonce of country. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it is a business mindset that you have to have in this industry. And even like you got to give it to artists like Jay-Z, who collaborated with Linkin Park
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Maroon 5 and was, going on tour with these guys, because it's like you want to expand your fan base. You're leaving money on the table when you just stick to one thing. And that's what cracks me up about some of these industry people who are like, oh, you have to focus on one genre, you have to focus on one thing and one thing only and one project only. And I'm like, you're leaving money on the table. You're leaving future
Yeah.
opportunities on the table. Because
And
when I,
labels,
yeah,
labels lose artists that way because the labels will come back and say, okay, no, we want you to make the same album that you made before, and the artist is like, no, I'm a creator, let me create,
yeah,
and a lot of
yeah,
roadblocks, and that's how they end up becoming independent. But the point you made with Jay-Z and Linkin Park, brilliant, brilliant. What he did there was just, yeah,
right.
that was spot on. Yeah,
And you have to just think about it like from the music standpoint and the business standpoint, and then even from a political standpoint, it's just bringing more people together. You know what I mean?
yeah,
The
no,
same person who
100%.
listens to Linkin Park and the same dude who listens to Jay-Z, now they're sitting in the same room, you know what I mean, sharing a blunt, watching these two artists perform on
Yeah, yeah,
stage. So
yeah,
to me, it's just, artists have to think outside the box And if you don't do that, you're not going to be successful. And let me tell you something. There was this one particular gentleman I had on my podcast show, and I said, who is your favorite artist of all time from all aspects, right? From looks, music, image, fashion, business, everything. And he said, Madonna. And I said, oh, shit. I said, well, okay, why Madonna? He was like, because she reinvents herself every freaking time. She
That's
fits
it.
in. Yeah, she fits in with the new trend. She collaborates with all the latest artists, the newer artists. She goes on tour with those artists. She allows them to open up for her so that she can, get their audience to come to her concerts. And I was like, whoa, that is true. Madonna reinvents herself big time. I mean, she's on tour right now. You know what I mean? So, yeah,
At that age, she's
yeah,
still
at that
going
age
for it,
too. Yeah,
she's still going for it. I
she
mean, if we
is.
look
Yeah.
back in history, just to, on this topic, like if we look back, let's take rock music, for example. Okay. And this is not any form of like racism or racial comment, but the history of rock music comes from black artists.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
many people don't know that. you know,
Mhm.
if people actually looked online, or even if they just watched the movie Cadillac Records, or looked into the history of Cadillac Records, which also had Beyonce in it,
Mhm.
you would learn that, look, before Elvis was even in the picture, it came from a black artist. You know,
Mhm.
that's where it actually started. It's just that the laws were so messed up back then that you couldn't. I mean, I had a trademark attorney on the podcast last week, and she was saying, like
Mhm.
it gets so complex when you go to court and say, look, I own this song. This person
Right.
has stolen this song from me.
Mhm.
So I think with the moves that like Beyonce, for example, is making, it's also making a statement.
Mhm.
It's making a statement. Like let's look back in the history of all of these genres because you are going to get shocked and you're going to be surprised about where this actually came from.
Mhm. Mhm.
And credit needs to be given. I think if anything, credit just needs to be given.
Credit does need to be given, and it's a shame that years later we're coming back trying to prove why we need that credit. Credit should have been given a long time ago, right? Because you
Yeah,
had
yeah, yeah.
artists like, Lenny Kravitz or Jimi Hendrix and obviously so many others that were, you know, that were, in that genre as a black person. But yeah, it does take today's artists like a Beyonce or Kanye West or whoever to really bring that back and reintroduce it and sample those artists and let the world know this is where it really came from. Like even with country, how that came from black people. You know what I mean? And
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
it's just for us, we're just this is what we do. We love music, we vibe to music, and it's just something that we're really successful in. So, of course, we started a majority of these genres, and you got others mimicking the way we sound and trying to outdo us. You know what I mean? But it ain't happening, Captain.
Yeah. Okay, so you're a diversified individual. So also you into actressing and so on. So in the next 15 minutes or so, like, can you share like where you've diversified yourself? Because a lot of artists stay stuck. They depending on, okay, Spotify is going to make me rich. It's going to sustain my career. No, it's not. It's not going to happen. It's never going
Right,
to happen. You need to
right.
diversify your income, and you've done that so well for yourself.
Yeah,
So, what can you share on that? Like, for like, advice for artists out there based on your own true story on going down the road and diversifying. And you've also
yeah,
done TV hosting. I mean, you've done it all.
yeah.
Really done
Thank
it
you.
all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was in 2014. I kind of stepped away from music a little bit because I just felt the market was oversaturated, and really nowadays is very oversaturated, but um,
Yeah, it is.
you
Yeah.
know, I was still doing music, but I wasn't doing as much of it. So I started my own talk show, and it was called Diva Talk Tonight. And it was just an entertainment show where I would invite different guests to come on and interview them, just like how Jimmy Fallon, Jimmy Kimmel would do. Except for, hey, it's a black chick doing it. And till this day, you haven't seen a black woman yet become the face of primetime TV yet. So who knows? But yeah, that's why I did Diva Talk. And now, recently, it got picked up on Tubi. So you guys could see 12 installments on Tubi. Um, Before that, though, I was broadcasting on a local major station called Coffee TV and KTSF. And we used to broadcast over like 500,000 weekly viewers. And I also created that show as a networking tool, like a networking vehicle, because, okay, great. I invite this producer on the show, this artist, or whoever has something going on. I'm inviting them on the show. Now, me and that person get to collaborate on something else later. And that was kind of the purpose of the show. And once I started working with different production companies, they started giving me more ideas, which really expanded my fan base and my network to where I damn near was too busy to even do the TV show anymore. And again, it got picked up on Tubi, so it's streaming on there now. Um, Now I'm podcasting, and I'm on all the podcast platforms, just like you, iHeart, Spotify, Google Cast, just iTunes, all those guys. And now I'm working on producing my first feature film. Uh, we're
Nice.
in the writing stages of it, yeah. I produced my first short film in 2016 called Love the Original Way. That did really well in the festival circuit. We're actually still submitting it to different festivals till this day, just to keep it out there. And I've also been featured in a film called First Date, which is streaming on Hulu. So, geez, like I'm a jack of all trades when it comes to the entertainment industry, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
now even doing public speaking and speaking in front of people about mental awareness and personal growth development, um, success as an entrepreneur. Uh, and then that also led me to launching my own beret line called Tams, to where now I'm hosting fashion shows, producing fashion shows, expanding my network in the fashion industry, rubbing elbows with popular designers and bartering with them. So things are only getting bigger and bigger.
Which is good. Which is good. Definitely good. So how do you manage? And I know that you. It's crazy how you. Okay, you on the podcast today. You also hosting an award show on Sunday.
Yeah, it's called the Black Music and Honor Awards. Uh, uh, yeah, I'm co-hosting that, and really, it's all of the Bay Area's finest musicians, entertainers, actors in the entertainment industry, and it's about honoring them and giving thanks and appreciation for being successful and coming out of the Bay Area being successful, because the Bay Area used to have a bad reputation as far as artists trying to thrive in the industry. It was like a crabs in a barrel situation. Now we're all collaborating and we're all giving each other a platform to to become successful. So that's what this award show is about. It's about showing appreciation and creating another platform to show that appreciation.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's it's amazing, like how the universe works because each and every single week, any guest that comes on the podcast, it's like we all have like the same mandate, which is like
Right.
we need to start communicating to like as much people as possible. Like you even mentioned yourself about mental illness. It's a
Mm-hmm.
trending topic at the moment. And not just like in the music industry, but just in society in general, globally, you know, it's really affecting a lot of people. And it's about to like just get worse as these next few years unfold. So the world right now needs people like you. So, well done to you. Um, there's also a doctor. I had her on the podcast about 4 weeks ago. So she focuses on suicide prevention within the music industry and out of the
Mm-hmm.
music industry. So what she does is she puts all like all the lyrics together. She does all the visual arts, and then she like work via contracts with vocalists. And
Mm-hmm.
she uses that sort of content to get the message out to people, because it's crazy numbers. When you look at the numbers of suicide rates, like over 700,000 a year globally,
It
and those
is.
numbers are not spoken about in the media, you know, people like us actually need to come up forth and like do something about it. And that's a bigger purpose about just being an artist.
Yeah.
That's the purpose behind it. It's not just about making music. So we can make music that is organic, that is original, that speaks real stories, backed up by proper storylines. That look, what I'm telling you in my lyrics, what I'm telling you in my song is because I've been through it. And if I can get through it, so can you.
Exactly.
So I'm proud of
Exactly.
what you're doing, and how you're diversifying it, to get that reach. Because whether you're going down music or, TV show or podcast or fashion, your mandate to help people will always be there in all these sectors. It's going to
Right.
help someone along the way, which
Right.
is quite dope. So how do you like handle it all? Like, how do you handle all of this? I know you got a
Mm.
great team, but for yourself, like psychologically, mentally, how do you handle it?
Sleep and drink lots of water.
Do you even find time to sleep?
Yeah. No. No. I always find time to sleep. Yeah. Yeah. Ooh, shoot. Sorry. No. It's really when you have a balance and you do one thing at a time, but you're still doing multiple things at a time, right? It's just all about timing and organization skills. And that's actually something that I learned in school, time management, right? Being able to prioritize what needs to be done first and then going to the second task, third, fourth, fifth, whatever, right? And then mapping out your short term goals and your long term goals and sharing that with your team and making sure that you're not overwhelming yourself or your team with all these tasks that need to be done. You prioritize what's important first and then get to the less prioritized task later. So time management is everything, and also what needs to be addressed is what's everything, right? Like, okay, we're watching the politics on TV right now, right? It's all over social media. Trump, Kamala Harris, everybody's talking about them. So it's kind of like, okay, if this is what you need to put your focus on right now and talk to your fans about or whatever on your next podcast or next song or whatever, then that's what you have to do. You have to be in the know. You have to follow what's trending. You have to, I hate to say it, but you just kind of have to do what everyone else is doing because all these TikTok influencers, IG influencers, they're making bank and they're getting hella followers, hella engagement because they're trendy. They're following what the trend is right now. They're doing what the trend is right now. And when you're doing that, that's how you learn to become successful. So it's all about time management and prioritizing what needs to happen now and what needs to happen later.
Yeah, yeah. I agree with you on that, go with what everyone is doing now. The only question that comes to mind is how do you do it without selling your soul and losing who you truly are? I think
You
that bothers
just
like a
you
lot of people.
I think it comes out during the interviews, when you talk to people such as yourself, you know, um, I'll admit, when we saw a change in Kanye West, when he talks to the media, he talks differently now. And it's kind of like, that's not the same Kanye West that we knew years
Yeah,
ago when he
yeah, yeah,
first came out. You know what I mean? So that's why there are such such thing as talking to the media and appearing on radio stations and podcast shows to talk to your fans, to let them know what you're doing and why you're doing it, and that you're not trying to sell out or leave them. This is just a specific project. You know what I mean? Or even through your art, through your music, there's a way of delivering it without selling out, with keeping keeping it real and keeping yourself real. So, but, there's songs that I've made that aren't hip hop music, but I'm not selling out. I'm still Keldamuzik,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
you'll know that by listening to the lyrics. You'll know that by listening to the beats and how I deliver, on those songs. Nothing has changed about me. So
yeah, yeah,
really, when you keep it real to yourself, naturally everyone else knows that you're keeping it real with them. But the second you start changing your voice, your tone, your accent, and you just become this whole different person that we didn't know before, then people will suspect that you're selling out.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, no, 100%, 100%. This is just all about, just keeping a balance and following your instinct,
That's
because at
right.
times an artist can make, okay, maybe one artist is doing a certain thing with their music, whatever it may be, and you say, okay, cool, let me also attempt to do it how they doing it. But then you find out that it doesn't work for you because their audience is not necessarily my audience.
Mm-hmm.
You have to go out
Mm-hmm.
there and you have to really look for your audience, and you need to focus on your audience.
That's right. That's right. And then if you are artists like Beyonce, Lady Gaga, Nicki Minaj, Rihanna, Madonna, Mariah Carey, Mary J. Blige, you'll always have your fan base no matter what you do, because now um you're just trying something different because you want to. You're not pleasing the fans anymore. Your fan base is already there and they're always going to be
Yeah,
with you. And the more you continue to reinvent yourself and come out with brand new material, your fans are always going to love you for that. So,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, no, 100%. It's like like your fan base, like even though your music, whether they feel like it's good or not, they still going to support you. Happens, does happen. I think, one thing that didn't work out for Beyonce was like, she has this fan base of millions, yet her clothing line with Adidas never work out. You get those sort of situations. And then you
Hmm.
have to dig into, okay, what's that? But I think it was mainly because of like um demographics, possibly. Can
Hmm.
people can afford to like go on Spotify and listen to your music and support you, but they probably couldn't afford, to buy your clothing line. But it's
Right.
never a bad thing to just test the waters and see, what really happens.
Yeah. Hey, artists test out different business ventures all the time, and some work, some don't. And just because they don't work, it doesn't mean that your fans aren't supporting it. It's just maybe the third party that you're working with is not really putting the marketing dollars behind it, or their method of promotion isn't really doing that well. So everything's all about creating a reliable, solid marketing campaign and learning what direction to go in, how to reach the fans, how to reach your listeners, and how to reach other people who aren't your fans. So things work out and things don't, but
Yeah, it's
yeah.
part of life.
Yeah.
It's part of life. It's part of life. I think what I'm looking forward to. Hopefully, something that can happen in the future is where you have like a Beyonce and Taylor Swift album that will come together. because that's going to sell billions. If
Oh
you really
yeah.
think about it, that is going to be like the best strategic move that these labels will make.
Wait, if Beyonce
Bringing
what?
it to
If she collaborated
Beyonce
with
and
what?
Taylor Swift, like
Oh
Beyonce and
yeah,
Taylor
yeah,
Swift
yeah,
coming
yeah.
together on an album.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
That that
that
would
would be
be
madness. Yeah, that would be madness, and a strategic move, very
very much
strategic
so.
move. Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Thank you for your time for coming through. Even though it was like there were
Yes,
delays along the way, and there were miscommunications, but this was insightful. This was really insightful. Thanks for sharing your knowledge and expertise on hip hop culture and
Yeah,
what we can
no.
actually do and move forward.
Yeah, no, thank
And
you so
hopefully, yeah,
much
we
for
can still
having
keep
me.
it.
And
No, no problem at all. No problem at all. Like, I mean, the questions asked about hip hop was like what I was looking forward to. Like, where do you see hip hop going from here? Can we still hold it together? Can we still keep it together? Everyone is getting monetized, and that's just what it is. The guys back in the day, the financial gains from being an artist was like secondary for them. You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
the
yeah.
top was about impact, about building my
Mm-hmm.
name, building a brand, making a difference.
Mm-hmm.
Finances came afterwards. You
Sure,
know,
sure. It was
fast
all about
forward,
the passion and the art first,
yeah,
and
yeah, the art
people
behind it,
supporting you. Yeah,
yeah, and now
definitely.
it's all about the dough, and that's just the world we live in.
You know it.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, thank you so much for coming on. Please enjoy the rest of your day, and all the best for all your business adventures going forward.
Thank you so much, Kino. Enjoy
Right.
your day, baby.
All right. Thanks.
All
Bye.
right, see you guys later. Bye.
Okay, bye.